Daimler milked them for every penny they were worth, and from our last big video to now, the big change has been corporate sponsors. I hate to say it, but I mean that's the thing. So we've talked about it in the past. I do the business bullshit, and Mark does the creative side of things, and I'll do the day-to-day filming. And on the big projects, Mark takes over for filming. So that's pretty much been the work spread. And I mean, honestly, like our GTD 01 3RS thing, Amsoil stepped up for a couple videos. That's why we have the quad log thing. Some of the back-end math, that maybe the behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't probably find that interesting from a viewer perspective, but maybe find interesting.
Yeah, I mean, again, this isn't complaining about it. Every job and every person has their, like...
No, I just want to be transparent.
Every job has its, like, the same crap. It's just this one is because... It's a social media game 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't stop, right? Like a normal job, you just... And I dream of this sometimes, man. Like, I go to bed, I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go back to a normal job where I'm owned by some horrible boss that just, like, steps on my nuts every day. He's like, dude, you get me that spreadsheet? Like, at least I know on the weekend I don't have to do anything, or I can pretend to be busy. Like this, I don't get to pretend. Or I guess I could. I'm pretending right now. I haven't done anything in 6 months, except eat breadsticks.
All right.
I'm gonna own an Olive Garden, dude, and I'm gonna tell you.
Get it?
Yeah,
the high revving EJ.
So the EJ stuff has been around for 2 billion years, so they're overdue. Somehow they've had to bury all the dog like ramps and all the accessories for dogs on their Subarus to build a new engine. I mean, come on.
Do you think, honestly, so I'm also curious for you guys as well, would the market accept a WRX engine, the 2.4 turbocharged engine, in a hatch STI thing with diffs and suspension and brakes? Would someone accept that as an STI? Like, no additional power, so they don't have to re-emissions test it.
Yeah, probably, but it couldn't be expensive, which you know it would be. Because look how much a top trim WRX is. Is it like 45?
It's 43, I think. So if it was under $50,000, you think people would buy it? What's the Type R now? 47? 48?
Yeah, dealers are still kind of screwing around with that, but yeah, it's about 40, 45, 47, yeah.
So it's going to be for $47,000, $50,000.
Yeah, it'll be 50 for sure.
Sure, 50 grand. Do you think people would be okay with it if it was a wagon, had diffs? Because the main thing about an STI cool is that it was...
Well, yeah, I mean, they just
mechanical diffs. Yeah, mechanical diffs, front and rear. You have the symmetrical all-wheel drive system with a center diff. You get adaptive dampers with higher spring rates, some aero bullshit, and big brakes. With 200 and whatever horsepower that car makes, 274. I mean, honestly, I don't think it would be a bad car.
I'd be looking forward to it. I think everybody wants a hatch, the Subaru hatchback.
All-wheel drive hatch.
Yeah, I mean, whether people buy it or not, that's a completely different argument, which we constantly have. Oh, anyway.
All right, so back to so let's actually start the questions. David Crawford, one of our Patreons, asked, when you do bolt-on adjustable suspension for project cars, how much testing and guesswork is needed to set up? Does Oleans or King Motorsport just tell us what the settings are? And let us also talk about that from a consumer perspective. Not really. It depends. Like if you bought a set of KWs online, not that we have, or an Oleans damper setup, they don't really necessarily give you a here are the settings for said car, for said thing. It really depends on the shop you work with. Like we work with MCS now, and for MCS, like they're the damper company. Like you have to go to, like in the case of the Camaro, Vorschlag is the one who actually developed the coilovers for that car. They'll tell you what spring rate, what camber rate, you know, what compression rebound settings to run. But if you just bought a set of dampers off the shelf like we've done in the past, that R&D is us. I mean, that's how, I mean, in your FRS days, is that what happened or not?
I mean, that's how it always is. No shop's going to tell you how to set up a car. They're not.
They're a shop that sets up cars.
They're gonna give you a spec damper with a spring rate that they think is math modeled off what the car should be, and every track, every tire, every surface is completely different. So your settings are going to vary across the board, depending on if you even corner balance the car. But there's just too many things. So there's no static best way to set it up unless they truly publish here's our setup, here's our damper setup, here's your ride heights, here's what your corner balance should be. It's just rare. I've never seen it. I don't ever see it. Like, even some of the best damper companies don't do that because they have too many products to support. So, I mean, if I was going to do a damper, if I was going to do a suspension setup, which I always have wanted to do that, like, and I probably never will remember the time to do it, but that's one thing. I would take a car that I really loved and work with a company that was really good and develop drive the car with some other really competent people that here's a kit, this is where you set everything, and this is the ideal setup for this track, this track, this track, this road, this pavement, this tire, and you have truly off-the-shelf bolt-on kit for suspension that you know is going to work, that's been tested, but most people don't do that. And to be fair, you'd have to continually redevelop that kit because new tires come out, means you're going to have to make changes to that based on the tires that people are going to run. You know, as we see, you know, like other than the Hankook RS4, I think that's been the longest running tire. It's been over 10 years that tire's been out.
No, the
RS3 and 4?
No, what's that really shitty tire? The Toyo.
Oh, the R888.
Yeah, that's been around for like 20 years.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, there's certain tires that are on the market for a while, but typically your fast track day tires, which is what people are going to run in those types of environments, they turn over every couple of years as tire development increases. So anyway, long diatribe about that.
Matthew asks, hey guys, what are your thoughts on the upcoming new Klaus 3 Series in the direction of BMW?
They've burned a lot of money to do that. A lot. So their goal is they want a really, really good EV platform. This is the most money they've ever spent on this. So it's going to go on mainstream cars like iX3, 3 Series, M3. Like, they're going to scale it across the board. But they've also said that they're going to be scaling back capital expenditures to try to recoup some of this money because they spent billions on it. But they're going to have a split. They're going to have internal combustion cars, completely different division, and then their electric cars. I think it's smart, but I don't know how well it's going to work.
You want to take advantage of Paleo Valley's buy one, get one free on the grass-fed finished bean foam broth? I've got an idea. Get a bag of chocolate and a bag of salted caramel.
You know, they'll be good because iX is good already. And that's like last generation stuff, and it was still good. So now you have 800 volt or 900 volt architecture, better charging, better batteries, better drive units, better balance. Like, the car is going to be good. It's just, are people going to buy it? If I was going to release another one, which I wouldn't, I'm going back in the Stone Ages after this. I'm going to have some like beater Civic or something again because I just can't handle the cost of all this stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're an electric car person, you should be excited for it. It's going to be one of the better ones.
Alamai asks, please shed some light on your recent Gravity review. What software version were you using? My Gravity is scheduled to enter production in 1 to 2 weeks. I am beyond excited.
So the long and short of that, and I don't want to like throw them under the bus. So clearly I worked with them for over a year on this. So we got a Gravity and we got a Dream Edition, which really was one of the first off the line. Or not the first off the line, but first, you know, real production batches. And Andrew was like our PR rep, amazing dude. You know, like, this is no bullshit. He's like the most honest guy ever. He's like, I regret giving you guys that car because now that the real production cars that are not Dream Edition, like GTs and like the regular ones, they've made a lot of changes. But here's the thing. The software revision on that car was up to date. And then they pushed, they actually connected to the car remotely to push out a beta, like an update one to patch the stuff that I was having problems with. And that's how tight, like, we're just joking around, like how I'm to the minute with updating, like doing a video. They're to the minute trying to update cars in production. That's crazy to think. So, you know, this is the world that you're living in when you have software-defined vehicles that are on the cutting edge and you're a smaller brand. You're literally day by day trying to fix things that are coming in. And the reality is if you're getting a car that's not fully spec'd out, I don't think that like I didn't talk about it in the video, but the HUD is definitely an option that they rolled out and didn't have any idea how to make it work right. It's like, it's eye tracking HUD. So it's supposed to like follow your eyes.
It doesn't work with sunglasses.
Right. Yeah. But this is like, it's a HUD that's looking at your eyes to follow you. So when you move your head, like the HUD changes. Like, it's just stupid. Like, it's cool from a tech play, but it's stupid because it just doesn't work. Like, and the size of the HUD, and I'm not kidding, it's like this big. It's bigger than like a 6 by 4 like Tupperware containers, so there's a ton of like reflection on this like thing in the dash. So every single part of that car is like first generation software to control the hardware, and like the idea was great, but there's no way they could meet the timelines to get the software done in time. So they're like desperately like reorging and redoing things to get all the software up to date on it. And now, from what they're telling me, is that these next few software pushes that have been out have patched a lot of the initial issues, but don't go to the bleeding edge. Don't expect the bleeding edge features to work. They're just trying to get the basics fixed. And I did.
Congratulations on your purchase. Just be ready for some issues that you probably would not be facing with other brands.
Yeah, like, so the last question was about the BMW, right? Like, I'm not saying the BMW is perfect, because last night I was driving and I was just joking around with the Bowers the other day. Like, Jack, listen to my Bowers speakers because the audio system's so good. And then I got in the car, put it in reverse, and it makes a tone on the outside part of the car. That worked. I put it in reverse, but when I got to an object, it plays like that organ tone when you get too close with the sensors, like doo-doo. It just went, and then I lost all audio in the car. All audio didn't work. None of the backup tones.
Cool.
The only thing that like it processed was like maybe the crossover on the tweeter, and all you could hear was like the upper like top kilohertz of the tweeter. No other sound came out of this car. So I rebooted the head unit while I was driving, because you can do it just by holding down the power button. Rebooted, still didn't come back. As a power cycle the car, I power cycled it, the audio didn't come back still. I waited 20 minutes, power cycled, maybe the amps had to clip off or something. Then the audio worked again out of nowhere. So like, that's the worst problem I ever had with that car, and it came back. But the Lucid stuff was like,
And if you're really the problem with Drift, I haven't seen the
right, exactly. At least, you know, all the deals, what would they do? They probably power cycle, do the same thing.
Theoretically,
Yeah.
someone could get you alone.
Somebody would figure it out, you know, because it's a known quantity. Where the Lucid is kind of like, they're basically day to day, like, what's the new thing we gotta fix? You know, they got a big team. You know, I got to meet everybody, and they're on top of it. But it's just, man.
My parents' neighbors just got their Gravity. They love it.
Yeah, I mean, once you get to the place where it's like working, like the software is no longer nagging you, it's gonna be a great car. I mean, really.
This is from Nate Bennett. No, this is perfect. What do you think about Porsche's massive profit problems? What do you think Stellantis needs to do to succeed? And with cars essentially becoming spreadsheets, what keeps you motivated?
Well, you're gonna answer the Porsche problem, because I don't care.
Try to answer this without it being too rambly. They bet big on the EV investment, and as per earlier in this live stream, they are.
California has its ups and downs, but this is our home. There's no place like it.
Regretting that decision. They are greenlighting and pushing through a ICE 718 as quickly as they can, because that wasn't necessarily planned. The Chinese market basically evaporated for them given their economic problems. So that double whammy of losing a third of your sales because of an external issue that you don't control as a company, combined with the EV side, and then on top of it, you have the tariffs here in the U.S. While they are increasing prices on cars because of the tariffs, they're also eating a portion of it as well. It's that vicious cycle of all of that happening. Personally, you know, to me, as someone who loves Porsches, I don't feel that bad. Hopefully this is a wake up for them, and that they need to figure out how to get people excited in their cars. And I think part of it is even talking to them internally, they know their cars are too expensive. Like, I think the increase in price in just every Porsche in less than 3 years is insane. Part of it is because they IPO'd. So they now have all these MBAs running around saying that the stock price matters and we got to increase profitability. But as a back end of that, I think it's, you know, the people, like your old neighbor is a great example. Wealthy dude. He bought a couple 911s brand new. He has a GT3 that he bought brand new. And he's like, dude, I don't make any more money than I did 10 years ago. Really? I can't afford a new GT3. And you're now pricing out your customers. I was joking with it that the turbo launch, you know, doctors don't really make any more money than they did 20 years ago. And the 911 turbo, the doctor's car, is now $300,000. So anyway, that's one part. Let's get to the Stellantis part. What do they need to do to fix their company?
I don't care. You know, like if I cared, I'd go work for them. But they're their own worst enemy.
Yeah.
You know that guy in the relationship, he's on like his 4th marriage. He's like, this just isn't working out. And he's like, dude can't look himself in the mirror and just own the fact that they need a massive rethink of everything they're doing. And it's culture. It's truly culture. It's the people. They don't know when to be like, oh, you know, maybe we shouldn't just keep doing the same thing we've done over and over again. But again, you know, the product is everything, and their product is not good. It hasn't been good, and they haven't been able to right that ship no matter what they've done.
I think, as someone who was at one point going to go work for them, now knowing the inside baseball that no media talks about.
By the way, not all their product is bad, but a majority.
A lot of it is very bad.
Sorry.
They are in a tailspin, like that's circling the drain that started in the early 2000s. When they got bought by Daimler milked them for every penny they were worth and wouldn't let them reinvest the money off of their cars. And sure, you could argue early 2000s, late 90s, still thought this products were garbage, but the Chrysler 300 sold really well, right? When that car came out in the mid-2000s, it really did make a difference, regardless if it was good or bad. Then when Daimler left and they went to FCA, they had the same problem. They had a bunch of owners that wouldn't let them reinvest their profits into future product. They're like, I'm going to take half of your money that you just made profit-wise and just go back to mothership and give you the bare minimum possible to run this company. And that's what happened to them, and it just got precipitously worse over 20 years. Then you have a leadership problem on top of that. I don't know what it's like internally, but part of it, I'm sure, is that the leadership was fighting for what limited budget they had. I talked to somebody who was forced into retirement, right? The guy from Jeep. He's like, yeah, they don't give me any money to do anything. It's all going somewhere else. So you have a team with no money, but probably the wrong people, and it's very insular. You're working for a brand for 20 years that everyone's told you is garbage. It's like you're yelling at your kid for 20 years.
I don't think they're self-aware.
They're not self-aware.
They're not. They're the brand that when you ask them, have you driven anything else? They'll always tell you, no, we only drive our own stuff. Like, no disrespect. Like, I get why, but dude, you're not competing in this world if you can't go outside your own silo and like see what other people are doing and like look at things differently. Like, I don't have any respect for that part of it.
Yeah.
That's why I've always had a problem with them, and they've just dug their own grave over and over again. And there's like it's like somebody who's addicted, or like the alcoholic syndrome. Like, oh, you know what? I can quit anytime I want. You know, like it's just they just don't do it. Like
I think their problem is that they never focus on the fundamentals. Like I did the current gen Jeep Grand Cherokee launch, which you didn't go to. I went to and spent all this time with all these engineers, and they had this on paper at least. It's double wishbone, right? It's largely aluminum. Honestly, particularly back then, I would argue on paper it drives better than Pilot. They're like, what do you think? You have this product on paper that's good. What do you need to focus on? It needs to be reliable. It needs to have good residuals. It needs to do all these things. They didn't focus on any of it, and the cars are not reliable.
Well, the two things that come to mind instantly for that brand is the Grand Wagoneer, which we know 100% was an absolute disaster in terms of quality and reliability. The two things that a vehicle like that 100% needed to be at the price point that they were selling it, and they could not figure it out. They could not get it under control. That sums up every single problem that brand has always had. It's everything's on the surface, and like, oh, we're so great, look at what we can do, without just getting the basics right. And then the EV thing, which we're getting it. I'm almost so hoping that somebody cancels that thing so we don't have to get it. You know what I mean? Like the EV charger. I can't believe that it's on our schedule.
Purely because I'm sure if one of our reps watches it, it'll be canceled. But I'm sure I purely think that got sent to us because our rep doesn't know it's coming to us.
Yeah, it's an accident. You know, like I do want to drive it just to drive it with like a clear head. But I mean,
I'm Mary Karen Bass, and in LA we say no kings in America. So when Donald Trump tries to terrorize our people, rig the 2026 election, and steal control of Congress,
Lee, I don't know if you guys, we brought this up in like one of our press trips. This was recently, I think, maybe the GTD 01 thing. Where like, did you guys ever see the launch video they did for the Dodge Charger EV with the Dodge brothers, like the CG Dodge brothers, and was Tim Kuniskis. Was he VP or what was he?
CEO.
Oh, he's CEO. Okay. Oh shit.
It's like the most up there.
Dude, like if you can dig it up on YouTube, just
Go watch the launch reveal. It's like a 20-minute video that Dodge did on the Charger EV. I think there's a good way to.
I don't know. There's just no way to put it. Like
It's embarrassing.
it's like the downfall of if you had to have like a documentary done about like the downfall of a brand, you just put that video on and like just look at it and be like, oh my god, what happened? How do we go back in time and fix this? And there's just no fixing it. And it goes. And before we get into many more questions, this is one of the topics that we talked about earlier in the day with the car industry. There's too many brands, there's too many cars, there's too many carryover things, and you have brands that are like struggling like this that don't have the money, the resources, or no longer have the talent to get things done. This is where this consolidation part comes in. I never thought this before, but really some of these brands need to consolidate or go away because they're spinning their wheels and trying to recreate something that they're never going to recreate the magic of it. They've already peaked. They're on their downfall. They need to somehow merge or like just completely blow it up and start from scratch. And I just think there's too many cars now and not enough money to go around. And all the cars are like, have these brands? What do they do better than the other ones?
So what Stellantis needs to do to survive, if I ran Stellantis and I had unlimited money, they would need a CUV that's as good as the CR-V or RAV4. It's
Okay.
not going to happen. They need a Civic or Corolla competitor that's as good as those cars. They need a X5/Pilot scalable vehicle, which they kind of have, which they haven't put the money into. They should have. They need a good pickup truck, and that is all they need in the Jeep Wrangler. That's all they need to do well.
All right.
They need to redo their entire product line.
So when you give this guy a $15 million bonus, I need not 1,000. I need $1 million cut of that just because I sat here and heard it first.
And they need to redo all their dealers and their QC and everything.
Yeah, the regional all their factories. Yeah, no, I mean it's a lot, and I know I don't want to make a blanket statement because I know that there's talented people in there. There's a lot of talented people, and I don't want to throw everybody under the bus. It's really a cultural problem and a top-down thing that brand has struggled with forever, and everybody gets sucked under with it. You know, that's the corporate. We started this thing talking about how corporate chews you up and spits you out. Perfect example of like the car corporate world of just being a meat grinder for a lot of these people, and they just stayed. A lot of these guys we know just stayed there too long.